Thank you very much indeed. Madam Deputy Speaker, I hope you had, and everyone in this chamber had, a very good summer break with just the right proportions of sun, sleep and family. Let me, if I may, start with a double round of congratulations. First to the Prime Minister on his 63rd birthday this week, putting him squarely in the prime of life, and to my brilliant colleague, the MP for Berwickshire, Roxburgh and Selkirk, who has just been appointed to the giddy heights of Deputy Shadow Leader of the House. That is the reshuffle that really matters.
Today, another theatrical performance unfolded in Parliament. Jessie Norman takes the floor, Lucy Powell responds, everyone throws barbs at each other, but the result? A complete void. Was it the government's disgrace, tax tales, or Taylor Swift gossip that was discussed? That's debatable, but I'm going to show you what goes on behind the scenes. You may not like the truth, but you need to hear it. Let's begin. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe so that more people can see the video.
Madam Deputy Speaker, as befits a former lawyer at Freshfields, he will be bringing his forensic intellect to scrutinising the government. Madam Deputy Speaker, I was planning to talk about the government's performance over the summer in Business Questions today, taking into account the escalating union demands for pay, the rise in inflation, employment and gilt yields, the record number of small boat crossings in the first half of this year. I think it's fair to say the past few weeks have been a total shambles for the government. Little wonder the Prime Minister has undertaken yet another of his performative government resets in order to distract the media and the general public. He insists that everything is absolutely fine, which is doubtless why it's all being changed around yet again. They can't blame these things on the previous government, though doubtless the Leader of the House will try in her response. No, Madam Deputy Speaker, today there can only be one topic, and that is tax. In the real world, it seems that those of us poor souls who actually do pay tax are about to be confronted with a massive tax-raising budget, perhaps with a particular focus, it's been rumoured in the media, or kites have been flown, on property taxes. Last year, the Chancellor increased spending by £70 billion, funding half of that through taxes and half through increased borrowing. Of course, the only person who won't be paying more tax, it seems, is the Deputy Prime Minister. Now, I like and I rather admire the Deputy Prime Minister, Madam Deputy Speaker. Uniquely amongst the government, at least she has a policy.
Look, Jessie Norman takes the stage and starts talking about holidays, sunshine, family. He basically opens with, "Hello everyone, we're not working here, we've just returned from our holidays." But then he immediately steps on the gas. The government is a mess, the economy is in shambles, the unions are oppressive. In other words, the classic "our side is squeaky clean, the others are despicable" show. If you agree with me, don't forget to like the video to show your support. But the funny thing is, even if what Norman says is true, he himself has been part of this system for years. It's as if he fell from the sky and is now giving the government advice. I ask you, friends, are these people really looking for solutions, or are they just trying to score points by putting each other down? Write your comments.
And welcome back to you and to all the House staff. And can I join the Shadow Leader in wishing the Prime Minister happy birthday for earlier this week as well. But this summer has also been marked by some very happy personal events here in the House. Now, I'm not talking about Taylor Swift's engagement to Travis Kelce, although I'm sure we'll all want to wish them a happy engagement. But we've got our very own power couples, Madam Deputy Speaker, the honourable members for North East Derbyshire and Loughborough, who got married to each other over the summer recess. Also, the honourable member for Lee, who married her long-term partner Ian, and the honourable member for Cardiff South and Penarth, who married Christian this recess. But the happy news doesn't stop there, Madam Deputy Speaker. The member for Southampton Test had her beautiful baby daughter. I'm thrilled for her, and also for the member for Leicester East, on the arrival of her new baby too. And there's new dads in the House as well, the members for Wirral West and York Outer. So that's dispatches for this week. And we are very much more a family-friendly Parliament these days, and I am determined that modernisation will continue this trend. But can I also join the Shadow Leader in welcoming the new Shadow Deputy Leader to his place? Although I am hoping that he still will on occasion ask me some questions and invite me to his constituency from the back benches, which I'm always very happy to accept, as he knows. I'm also pleased to announce, Madam Deputy Speaker, that this first bumper session of Parliament of this Labour government will last until spring 2026. By any measure, our legislative programme in this first session is highly ambitious, delivering on the promises we made in our manifesto and shifting power and opportunity to working people. And there's a few highlights which I know the Shadow Leader is always happy to hear about. The biggest boost to workers' rights in a generation, finally ending no-fault evictions, stopping water bosses' bonuses, setting up Great British Energy to get bills down, bringing back rail into public ownership, saving British Steel jobs, seizing and crushing dangerous off-road vehicles, finally recriminalising shoplifting, ensuring buses are affordable and serve their communities, protecting our much-loved football clubs. We are taking on the vested interests, holding this country back, and we've still got much more to do in the rest of this session. But in contrast, the party opposite really have shown on whose side they stand in this session, don't they? On the side of landlords against the Renters' Rights Bill, on the side of criminal gangs voting against our Borders Bill, for the few, not the many, in education, and as ever, dying in a ditch to save the hereditary peers in the other place, because we know on whose side they are on. Anyway, he chose today to have another go at the issue of tax and property, which was, I noticed, the subject of their Opposition Day debate yesterday, but they couldn't muster up enough speakers in that debate for it to go the full 3 hours. So he's having another go at that again.
Now let's move on to Lucy Powell. She starts off sweetly, talking about babies, weddings, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift. For goodness sake, is this Parliament or Hello Magazine? I'm really surprised. While people can't pay their energy bills, Lucy comes out and livens things up by saying Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Is this your job? The future of the British people is being discussed, and you're gossiping about celebrities. Then, with great seriousness, she starts listing workers' rights, rent protection, football clubs. It's as if you haven't been in opposition for 13 years and have just arrived. I ask you, does the public really buy into this melodrama? Norman went on about taxes. We poor people pay taxes, but those in government get off scot-free. A very valid point. But the irony is that those who say this also benefit from the system. Let's be honest, how many politicians really feel the tax burden like the people do? Look at Lucy's response. She immediately changed the subject. Instead of talking about taxes, she said, "We are making major reforms protecting workers' rights." But you see the essence of the matter, don't you? Whenever they are cornered, they either tell emotional stories or change the subject. Friends, do you think this tax story is meant to lull the public to sleep, or is there really a serious plan? There's also this. Lucy came out and said, "We'll be working flat out until 2026. We'll pass tremendous laws." 2026. You've only just taken office and you're already advertising 2 years down the line. This always reminds me of that cliche. Everything will be wonderful in the next election. Remember, there were the same promises during Blair's time. They always talked about the worker, labour, justice. Then they went to war, they increased university fees. So the real value of these words should be measured by past performance. I ask you, friends, do you believe these promises? Or is this just the old Labour Party with a new makeover? Also note that while Jessie Norman criticises the government, Lucy criticises the opposition. Everyone is taking pot shots at each other, but no one is saying, this is how we will solve it. This reminds me of the vicious circle of British politics. It was like this during Thatcher's time, and it was like this during Cameron's time. One side criticises, the other embellishes, but nothing really changes. The same play has been performed for years. So what's the result? The people are poorer, services are worse, The tax burden is heavier. That's the real issue. I ask you, friends, can this vicious circle be broken, or will every generation listen to the same nonsense? In conclusion, Jesse Norman makes accurate observations but lacks sincerity, while Lucy Powell embellishes the stage with romantic weddings and pop culture to soften serious issues. Because of politicians like these, this country is not moving forward, but circling back to the same point. My opinion is this: the tax system is rotten, the economy is sounding the alarm, but Parliament is still playing games. What do you think? Write your comments, let's discuss, because if this system doesn't change, the bill will once again be footed by the public. And rest assured, neither Jesse nor Lucy will be paying that bill. You will pay it, we will pay it. That's why we have to talk about the truth. See you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe and like.